Hello, and welcome to Exposition, a podcast produced by the Division of Social and Human Sciences, Northeast Campus, Tarrant County College. Prepare to be engaged, enlightened, and informed. Today's topic.
Hello. Welcome once again to Watch Wisely. Our topic today, in honor of Women's History Month, is the movie On the Basis of Sex. I am one of your hosts and the namesake of this podcast, Dr. Karen Wisely. I teach history here at Tarrant County College, Northeast Campus. Joining me is my co-host.
Hi, I'm Samantha Elkins. Woo, I was too close to the mic there. I am a history instructor here at TCC Northeast Campus as well.
All right, as is our custom, we will introduce our topic by reading the logline or brief description of the film and then go over the main cast members and where you may have seen them before. This type of information helps me when I'm watching a movie, and so I hope it helps you as well. The logline for On the Basis of Sex. The true story of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, her struggles for equal rights, and the early cases of a historic career that led to her nomination and confirmation as U.S. Supreme Court Associate Justice. It stars Felicity Jones as the notorious RBG. You may know Felicity Jones from Rogue One, a Star Wars story where she played Jyn Erso. You may have seen her in The Theory of Everything, where she played the wife of Stephen Hawking as his health deteriorated. She also starred with Tom Hanks in Inferno, the last, so far, of the Robert Langdon / Da Vinci Code movies. Of course, she is also yet another Brit who is playing an iconic American in a movie. Again, WTF. Armie Hammer stars as Marty Ginsburg, RBG's beloved husband. You may know Armie Hammer from The Social Network, where he played the Winklevoss twins, The Lone Ranger, where he played the Lone Ranger, or Call Me By Your Name. Or it's very possible you know him from his recent downfall, where he was credibly accused of sexual assault and sexual harassment, as well as spicier rumors about alleged cannibalism.
Oh, gosh.
Yikes.
Jeez. Okay, that was a news to me.
You didn't know about the cannibalism?
No, I apparently have not been paying attention to the news.
Google it. You will not be... You will not be disappointed. All right. Sam Waterston as Erwin Griswold, the cranky, mean old Harvard Law School dean, and later Solicitor General. You probably know him as Jack McCoy on Law and Order. He's been in a lot of other things, but let's just be real. Law and Order is probably his most famous. Justin Theroux was Mel Wolfe, the ACLU mean, cranky old guy. You may know him as Jennifer Aniston's less famous ex-husband. And he also acts sometimes. Stephen Root as Professor Brown. You probably know him from Dodgeball. But I recommend that you see him in an ancient movie called Office Space.
Yes.
And while you're searching through the archives, try to find the television series that really made him famous called News Radio, because that was greatness as well. But those are ancient.
Man, is Office Space really that old?
Yes.
Oh, crud, because that's where I recognized him from.
Lastly, Kathy Bates as Dorothy Kenyon, the women's rights trailblazer before RBG came along. Some of us know Kathy Bates from her portrayal of the obsessed woman who put the fanatic in fan in the 1990 movie Misery that still make my ankles hurt sometimes when I think about that movie. On the Basis of Sex was directed by Mimi Leder and was released in 2018. So, Samantha, what are your thoughts on the Basis of Sex?
Oh, right. So, for some reason, I had to work myself up to watching this. I don't know why. Just for some reason, I was like, oh, no, I don't really want to watch this. and then I did, and I liked it a lot more. Personally, so not even looking at it like historically, but personally, I really, really enjoyed watching just all the like family life stuff with RBG and Marty Ginsburg. And part of it was I identified with a lot of it. I am not a bad cook, but I am a baker, not a cooker.
Yeah.
And my husband does most of the cooking in our house. So just that alone, like, there was this moment like, oh, I could see myself in this moment. And like, I don't know. Yeah. So I really enjoyed that kind of aspect of it. There were certain moments in the movie that I was like, this is going on too long. Like the very opening scene, they have to have the whole fight song for Harvard that's like, we are Harvard men or something, which I get that it's really trying to point out. I'm sorry. A fight song should not be that long. And it just kept going.
Honestly, I don't know how it's a fight song because fight songs are supposed to be like, I get that it's a school song. Yeah. Okay. Let's call it a school song because a fight song is something the band plays that is very short and pithy during a football game to get people really excited. And first of all, that one starts way too slow and it goes way too long. Yeah. So not a fight song, just maybe the school song.
I understood why they had to use it. Yeah. I mean, the name of it and then the fact that it's Harvard and showing the juxtaposition of only 9 women and all these men and everything. But it was just like, I get the point after 20 seconds. I don't need it to just get...
the budget they must have had for extras. My God, there were a lot of people in that opening scene, weren't there?
Oh, my gosh.
And look, all right, so full disclosure on this one. I watched it at home on DVD because... Yes, I do own this movie.
Yes.
And DVDs, for those of you who are listening, again, it was an ancient type of recording device. And it is a disc, and you put it in a player, and it shows up on your screen. But the thing about DVDs is there are extras. And so I watched the extras.
Oh.
Because I had questions. So... one of the extras was talking about like the material stuff, you know, the clothing and all of that, and how accurate it was.
I did love the costuming. Yeah, it wasn't like in your face for all the different decades, which so many films and stuff do.
It was eerily accurate for every one of the decades, and in the cars and the phones, and you know, all of it was like so spot on as far as all of that. And then when you go back to that opening scene with the just rows and rows and rows of people walking across this quad or whatever to get to class, and they're all impeccably dressed as Harvard men and the 9 women would have been. Yeah. It's like, what is the budget for this movie? My God.
Somebody was really passionate about costumes and all of that. And it was really nice to see that. I never was taken out of the film like, wait a second. Although actually there was one historically inaccuracy with that. Apparently in the background at one point, in Harvard, they start doing the twist, and that was not a big dance craze until like 2 years later.
Wasn't it Marty who started doing it? Yeah, when he was doing the...
There's something with the twist.
Yeah, when they were playing charades, yeah. Well, I guess he had to twist his body like that so that he would then, you know, have the pain and...
oh, gosh.
I don't know. I don't know, I'm just saying. The other thing that I want to bring up right away... that I learned on the extras is that, because I was watching it and I was like, man, I was a little like bristly, I guess is the word, about how like it's like Marty's idea to come up with this. Let's try the tax case and all of this. And I was like, does she have any agency? Are you what the heck? Are we trying to do a movie about RBG where we have a white male savior, the kind of thing? And I was like, is that true? Is that true? Are they doing this? Are they just being jerks? Come to find out, on the DVD extra, I learned that RBG read and approved of the script that was mainly written by her nephew.
Yes, her nephew and her daughter read over the script too.
So it had to have been right.
Yeah. No, I did look that up. Apparently he did find the tax thing and showed it to her just like you see in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, all right, okay. The other thing that I really liked about that was that they were interviewing the nephew on the extra, and he said that he thought that it would make a great film and that he wanted to write it, and so he asked Aunt Ruth for her approval.
By Aunt Ruth, I want to make a movie about you, like.
And she said her response was, if that's how you want to spend your time. And I was like, oh my God.
What a RBG thing to say. I guess that's how you want to spend your time.
It reminded me of my mom, too, because it's exactly like, I don't think my life's worth talking about, but if that's how you want to spend your time, go for it, And that she really enjoyed reading through it and all of that.
See, I had heard she also told him you have to get two things right. You have to get Marty right, and you have to get the law right. So apparently all the law stuff in it is like whatever law codes they're ever citing, those are correct. Yeah. I did not go check those.
I did not either, but
I'll believe them when they say it's correct.
I believe it because she read
exactly.
She proofread the script. And they talked about it on the phone a lot. So I'm sure that she had it right because she always did. But yeah, so it was, again, and to use your Selma thing, that it was, maybe not entirely accurate, but it was correct.
Yes.
Because there was that one scene where they went to Kenyon's office that Jane, her daughter, said never did happen.
Oh, yeah, that they met.
Yeah. But
no, that did not happen.
And that's all right. And that was kind of artistic license. Yeah. And, and it was
they added that scene, and then the moot court. There's 3 individuals, and somebody who's there. Oh, man, I forgot who her name is.
Polly Murray.
Yeah. And all of that's supposed to be kind of licensed to show that, like, it wasn't like RBG was RBG. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We were just talking about LBJ. So we're doing 2 podcasts in a row.
Yeah. And too many initials.
RBG.
Yeah.
It was supposed to show license that, like, it wasn't just her fighting for for women's rights, that she was building on a tradition.
Right. So you need Kenyon there. Yeah. You needed Polly Murray there. And the other thing that I want to say about Polly Murray, because again, in the last episode that we just recorded, I needed to go rant on and on about Bayard Rustin, and the other person that I want more for is Polly Murray, because she was amazing and so far ahead of her time. But I do want to credit RBG here, because she in the brief that she writes, the very first brief that makes it to the Supreme Court, which is Reed versus Reed, she credits in the brief Polly Murray's work, which, by the way, Polly Murray did work for Brown versus Board and never got credit from those men. But RBG does call her out and adds her name to as a co-author, because she is building on the ideas that she came up with, which is using the 14th Amendment to make women's rights. So I do want to salute RBG for, crediting the people who came before her.
Yeah.
And I do also want to ask Thurgood Marshall, who's also dead, so he probably won't be answering.
Probably.
What the heck were you waiting for? She did a lot of work. Maybe give her some credit. So yeah, those things I wanted to make sure that we got on the record here. The other thing that I want to talk about, and I want to just ask you this question, and this is like not anything serious, not anything really, but were you weirded / ooged out during the like love scene
The
kind
sexy
of
moment?
thing? Yeah, I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was a little like, okay. I'm watching the film, and my husband's actually watching these with me because I'm like, hey, this will be something good for us to talk about that aren't our kids.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh, never thought I'd see a sex scene for RPG. Like, I was like, huh. And I'm glad that they didn't, like, keep going with it.
Oh,
It was
God.
just like a makeout
Thank
scene.
God they didn't, like, follow them into the bedroom, because that would have, I could
it was a
not
little,
have
like-
done that. I don't think I
I'm
would.
not a prude. I really am not.
I think I
And
might be.
I'm okay with people who are. I'm like, that's fine. But, like, there was this, like, moment in time, like, that's, like, your parents, like, no,
Like,
I don't want to watch that.
I was never unaware that was RBG. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I never wanted to think about her in those terms. Now,
And I don't
Again-
mind, like, seeing that, like, in other historical movies, weirdly enough, because I'm like, okay, let's see. We just did Selma. Like, if they did something like that for MLK, would I be that weirded out? And I'm like, no,
probably not.
no.
But-
Something about RBG, I don't know why.
Yeah. And I do want to like have a caveat here, because RBG, especially young RBG, but even when she's older, she's smoking hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not even like you're not aware that she is a very attractive woman. It's just that I wasn't
don't know,
ready
maybe
for that,
I think
and
it
it
was
just
the
really
scene was a little surprising in the
it was like,
moment.
whoa, yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly.
I was like, I'm not ready. Kind of hiding my eyes. Yeah.
It is kind of funny too, because like thinking of that and then going to the next step. I was surprised that the movie didn't cover the problem she faced being pregnant the second time, and that she had to hide her pregnancy for fear she hadn't gotten her contract yet to teach the next year, and so she hid it. And wore like over baggy clothes and things like that until she signed her contract, and then let them know like, oh yeah, it turns
By the
out
way.
I'm pregnant and everything. And as someone who's interviewed for jobs not being pregnant but interviewed going, oh, I'm planning on probably getting pregnant again, like it was kind of, I was a little bummed that they didn't include that, because they covered so many things that I don't know. I was just kind of bummed about that.
Yeah. Yeah, because that would have been good. But maybe they're saving that for the second movie about when she when they talk about the laws against discriminating against pregnancy. Maybe that's maybe they're
true.
waiting.
They could
for
do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if there's going to be.
We are
I'm
not
just-
saying that there's a sequel coming out, guys, but
I'm just saying there should be. And again, the woman was 87 years old when she died. I think there's enough material there for another movie.
yeah. I mean, they didn't cover any of her stuff with going to get on the Supreme Court or anything like it. It really just gets through this one case. Yeah.
And her friendship with Antonin Scalia and all of. I mean, there really is.
There's some fascinating stuff in
There
history
is,
with her.
some rich material there for future movies. So think about it, guys. I think she lived longer with pancreatic cancer than anybody I have ever heard of.
Yeah.
From when she was first diagnosed to when she eventually died, it was a long freaking
Yeah.
time, and usually it isn't. Usually when they say pancreatic, it's usually
No, it's not a.
it's usually very quickly, and so I mean, even that is pretty darn amazing. Look, I enjoyed this movie
Yeah.
a lot. I did like the family stuff and how they were a team, they were a unit, you know,
Yeah.
and that they worked in support of each other, and you know, and the sense of humor and the, you know,
Well, and I even loved the adversarial relationship she had with her daughter. My husband said he didn't like that part, but I was like, no, this is
that rings true for teenagers,
oh,
doesn't it?
man, yeah.
And I thought it was funny that, you know, at the very beginning, whenever she was a baby and Marty said in like 10 years she's going to be slamming her door and saying she hates us. And it was, she was almost 100% right, you know? So it was true to the relationship that mothers and daughters have.
Yeah.
There's always...
Oh, where did she get this stubbornness from? And he's like, yeah,
I can't imagine. Yeah.
I was dying. I'm like, yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And also about, you know, her mother dying right before she graduated from high school. And so, you know, she was trying to have the same kind of relationship with that she wanted to have with her own mother and all of this. And so I thought that the relationships in the movie really rang true.
Yeah.
I also felt like every man in that movie, with the exception of Marty Ginsburg and her client, that the guy that stayed home to take care of his mom, every other man in this movie was an absolute jerk.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Now, to be fair, some of those things were super accurate. The scene, that the whole, how do you justify taking a spot from a qualified man?
That literally happened. Yeah.
Oh man. And you're sitting there going, is he really? Like, wow. What a bleep.
Yeah. Jerk. I believe jerk is the...
We need a sound effect.
We need a bleep sound effect.
Yes,
we need an owl. These are the things that we need.
This is what I'm requesting.
Yeah, jerk is the
jerk.
Yeah, that is the clean word. It was just so terrible, and I was so disappointed by her answer. You know? I mean, I know she was. I know she was disappointed by it too, and that, you know,
like, she basically straight up lied in that moment, and she knows she lied in that moment because she knew there wasn't an acceptable answer in this guy's eyes.
Yeah.
But I wanted her to call him out so bad, and then she didn't, and I understood why, but I was so mad still.
Yeah. So,
but I also loved I didn't love it. But it felt authentic. All of the coded language every single guy uses, because a lot of times they're not just saying, oh, women are worse than men. Like, they don't say it like that. The way they phrase things, it was coded language for, oh, women are worse than men, and women are less, they're not smart enough, and everything like that. And they say it in front of women constantly throughout the movie, and you're just, oh man.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there were infuriating parts. I said, you know, I yell at the TV a lot, and there was the one moment where she was dealing with some of the ACLU guy, who I thought was her friend,
Melvin Wolf.
Yeah, and then he was like a big, huge jerk, and I was yelling at the TV, and I said, "Why are all the men such?" And I didn't say jerks, but something like that. And literally like 5 seconds later, Jane in the movie says it, and I was like,
you
Thank you, Jane. It was the exact words that I used, and I was
and
like,
what was nice was even Marty
yeah,
doesn't call out that behavior, and she gets frustrated
Yeah.
because he's not calling out the behavior, and he's like, I have to kind of play the game, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
And so it's so nice when her daughter's like, no, you don't have to play the game.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah. 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 That was sweet. Yeah. But yeah, they are just, most of them are jerks. And I was really shocked then. And not shocked because it's historically based. So I knew how the case ended.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, not shocked, but the portrayal of the judges.
Mm-hmm.
Because they did seem kind of reasonable.
Yeah.
You know, they started, very combative, but then she won them over
Yeah.
and made them think, and they were capable of thinking. Mm-hmm. Even given an earlier scene where Stephen Root and Professor Brown and the guy that is going to make the argument were talking about what judges they wanted and why they wanted them and what they, these two are absolutely on our side. They won't,
Yeah.
and it ended up being a unanimous victory for them.
Yeah.
And do we want to talk about that last scene? Because
Oh, man.
did you cry like a baby, or was it just me?
I teared up. I teared up.
All right.
I teared up. Although I'll say the second to last scene when she like fumbles, I remember getting mad in that scene because I was like, this has to be dramatized. Please tell me this is dramatized. And I was so glad to find out she did not fumble. That did not happen. She was like, she herself has like, apparently at one of the screenings was like, I did not fumble. I'm like, oh, of course. Yeah,
Of course
there we
you
go.
didn't. I mean,
So
because
it was a
she's
little-
prepared.
Yeah,
every
they
time.
added that for the drama of the movie, and I'll be honest, by that point in the movie, I was like, I don't need her to fumble. Like, I felt like the fumbling with the moot court, like, that was good.
It
but
was
like,
already dramatic enough.
yeah, I'm like, I didn't
get
need
it.
a fumble at the end. I just didn't. But, oh, that moment when she's like, and neither does freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, and then they're like, ignore the clock. Go on.
Yeah! Like, oh, yes.
I love that. But the very end, like they leave, they celebrate their all of that,
Mm-hmm.
and then the very end where the words come up and tell you that it was a unanimous victory for her, and then that she wrote the Reed versus Reed
Yeah.
thing and all of that stuff, and then it shows her walking up the stairs of the Supreme Court while her actual RBG's oral arguments before the Supreme Court
Yeah.
are playing, and then it pans way out, and then the camera turns for the other thing, and it goes behind a pillar, and when it comes out from the pillar, it's actual
Yes.
RBG. And I wept like a small child. I was just like, and yeah, because it became RBG just as she was quoting, I think it was Sarah Grimke, about I ask nothing for my sex except that you take your foot from off our necks.
Yes.
And
I have to say this because you guys can't see this. Like, Dr. Wisely's like tearing up right now. So it's important to note these things
Thanks.
for authenticity's sake. No, but it shows just like it is. It's an emotional, like,
Yeah.
yes, the last quote, the like, just take your foot.
Off our necks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And, and having it be her own words and then having it turn into actually her was beautiful. And that was a great choice. Mimi Letter, fantastic.
Yeah. No. It
Yeah.
was- I'll say, cut out that last dramatization
fumble.
at the end, and everything else at the end, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, all of that was really, and it was really authentic then.
Yeah. I wish, as a giant history nerd who had just, okay, the night before. So not last night, but the night before last, I watched a little short, like documentary interview kind of thing with RBG that Harry and Meghan are producing on Netflix. You know?
Oh yeah.
So they're doing all these different people, and I watched the RBG episode, and it showed scenes of her confirmation hearing, and with Marty sitting behind her, and where she talks about, you know, she was blessed by having this guy who never thought of her as less because she was a woman, and you know, maybe if they would have, that's the only way it could have been better. Add that little coda, because that was so key to her success and so key to her becoming who she was.
Yeah, it's so much fun to watch their relationship in the film and know that he really did 100% support her in everything. And he would always, like, there's all these quotes about, he's like, oh, I'm lucky that she noticed me, and all that kind of stuff that you just go, oh my gosh. And his cooking was notoriously good. He came out with it's like Supreme Chef cookbook from his time, which like alive and then like hosting people and stuff. And so it just she was talking in that documentary, because it was like the last interview that anybody had ever done with her, because and she was talking about how you know, it was, she would cook during the weeks and Marty would cook on the weekends and special events, and at some point Jane was like, why can't you just cook all the time, Dad? And you know, it's really authentic when it comes from a child, because they have no problem telling you what they like and dislike.
And he was like, well, I guess I can. And did, you know. And
okay, I have to mention, when he steals the food off the kid's plate rather than eating the food that was made for him by his wife, I am sorry. I felt that moment so hard as a parent and everything, because I cannot tell you how many times it's like, seriously, you're not going to eat the food that's good? I'm stealing this from you. So, like, those, like, no, those were the moments that, like, I really, really, really enjoyed in this film.
So it was very good. All right, so to sum up.
Yes.
Then, would you recommend this to your students?
I think I would. I would definitely recommend it to my students. I'd recommend it for that personal as much as political element. Maybe give it, I personally would do, I think, like 4.5 out of 5 hoots. That's my personal opinion. More because there's a few, you know, that I was annoyed with the hiccup at the end because they didn't need it anyway. And there's a few little inaccuracies. Melvin Wolf's character, they make him even more sexist than he really was in life, and they make him dig his heels in and take longer to join their side when they supported him pretty early on. But like those are minor squibbles. What about you? Where you landed on this?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it, and I would probably go with 4.5. It's I would say 4.5 because there's so much of the personal, and you know, if I'm asking my students to watch a movie, there needs to be probably a little bit more on the you know, the legal side. But I mean, it doesn't take away from the movie at all, that they're, you know, like it adds to the enjoyment of it. And maybe what I'm asking them for is to make a more dry, boring movie. But also, this one was only like 2 hours, so only 2 hours. I guess that tells you something about all those movies that we've been talking about on Watch My Side. It's one of the shorter ones that we have been talking about. So I think, you know, it was a good movie, and I think 4.5 hoots. I'm not.
We're working on getting that button at some point.
Yeah. I'm not doing it. I did it that one time, and I don't know that I feel good about myself yet after that. So yeah, not hooing. But yeah, I should definitely see this movie, and it is, I mean, I hope the first of many about RBG.
Yeah, we're waiting for the sequel, Hollywood. Okay.
Yeah, she was an amazing lady. So let's do it upright.
Yeah.
All right then. I guess that will do it for this episode. And thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
All
Thank you.
right?
Thank you.